Hello, everybody. A little bit of music theory time for you, and we're going to go over what is the dreaded minor scale. Oh, this is going to strike fear in everybody. That's a little bit of hint of sarcasm for you. It's not as scary as you think, okay? Because if there's one thing you're going to learn about me is I like to think a little unconventional, and this might actually make this quite a bit easier for the music we love to play, okay? So, if you haven't reviewed it before, please check out my major scale so that way you can understand why we're going to start with a C major scale, okay? And I'm going to write that out real quick. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Always resolve. All right. Now, the relative minor, which is what I'm going to get to in a bit, but we're just going to essentially write it down here real quick, is going to be an A minor. And the reason why it's called a relative minor is that it shares the same exact notes in its scale as its relative major. Okay, so the relative minor of C major is A minor, and the relative major of A minor is C major. And they are actually the same exact notes, but the rule is still the rule. You have to start where you are. Okay, so we have to start on the A note. And I've already told you that they're all the same notes, so we're just going to go right up the alphabet. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and A. Okay, now the slightly confusing, at least in my world, musical notation method that we use is going to be the intervals between each of these notes. Now the formula for a major is a whole, half, whole, half. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to construct the formula for all minor scales. Okay, not all minor scales, because there are several, but we're only worried about the one that we like the most. Okay, I think it's called Aeolian. Please tell me if I mispronounced that. Okay, anyway, the interval between an A and a B is a whole. Between a B and a C is a half. Between a C and a D is a whole. D and an E is a whole. E and an F is a half. F and a G is a whole. And then we're going to resolve with another whole. Okay, so here's what we've done. We've taken the knowledge of what we know, and we know a relative minor of C major, and now we've constructed out of this the general formula to create all the minor scales that we need. Okay, now just to illustrate the point, I'm going to give you the next popular minor that happens a lot in our music, and that is E minor. Okay, and we're going to do the same exact thing with this formula right here. Okay, now you always have to start with where you are, which is E in this case, and we have to go up a whole step. That will be an F sharp. Okay, a half step above that is going to be a G natural. A whole step above is going to be an A. A whole step above that will be a B. A half step above will be a C. A whole step above will be a D, and then a whole step above will resolve back to the E. So there is our relative minor scale for E minor. Now, just to quiz you, if this scale might look familiar to you, what do those notes share? Let's see, if I were to write them out like this, the only scale that has one sharp in it, yep, that's right, G major. Okay, so it is quite simple for that regard. Now, this is more of what I would consider advanced techniques, because in our kind of music, we really don't play with minors. There we go. We really don't play with minors all that much. So it's kind of one of those, we're going to cross that bridge when we get there. Okay. But I can show you why or where those minors tend to fall out in this type of music. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of this, and we're going to start back with our C major, and I'm going to show you why we use the number system and how we use it in order to figure out two different minors that we relatively use. So the first one is a relative minor, and then the other one is going to be, I've heard some of the old timers call it a raised minor, because that's what a lot of the music tends to do when you meet that certain one. Okay, if you are familiar with the number system that we love so much, the relative minor is actually the 6 minor, and the raised minor is the 2 minor. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Okay, so let's see here. If I go back to our C major, now a lot of our music is constructed 1, 4, 5. However, sometimes they like to have a little bit of a sad sound, or they like to drop down, or maybe even sometimes raise up a little bit, and it turns into a minor. And these 2 minors are going to walk out right here. So you're going to have a 6 minor and a 2 minor. Okay. Now, if we work in how they're constructed, the 2 minor and a 6 minor, okay, off of the 1. Now, if our 1 is a C, that means that our 2 minor is going to be the next letter above, a whole step, sorry, and it's going to be the minor version. So it will actually be a D minor is the chord you're looking for, okay? And the 6 minor, we got to go all the way around to find out what it is. Okay, so that would be what? C, D, E, F, G. A is going to be our 6th one. There it is. So your relative minor, your 6 minor, that shares the same exact scale is going to be that guy right there, that A minor. Okay, and this is the quick way to figure out how these tunes are constructed. All right, so let me get rid of this. I don't have much space on my little whiteboard right here. However, we can list out all the 2 and 6 minors real quick for all the keys that we tend to love in our kind of music, which is going to be C major, G major, E major, A major. Yeah, we'll go with a D major. Why not? And just for a bonus, we'll also say B major. Or you know what? Let's even go with F major. Why not? Okay. So I'll put M-A-J here. So that way we know where we're at. Now, of course, there's relative minors and 2 minors for all the ones that are not listed here, like D sharp and B flat, etc., etc. But this is the formula they use to find them quickly. Okay, so we're going to call these our root. Okay, so there's my 1. Now the raised minor, or the 2 minor, is going to be a whole step up from where we are, and we just make a minor out of it. So this guy is going to be 1 whole step up, which is a D minor. You just put a lowercase m with it. Sometimes they write M-I-N, but usually I just put a little lowercase m. We need to go up a whole step from a G, which is going to be an A minor for that 2 minor. And here's going to be a little tricky right here. So there's only a half step between an E and an F. So to go another half to make a whole, it's going to be an F sharp minor. For an A major, whole step's a B minor. Whole step from a D major is an E minor. Whole step from a B major, remember there's only a half between a B and a C, so this one is now a C sharp minor is what you're looking for. And your F major, you're actually looking for a G minor. Okay, now those aren't too bad. The relative minors are a little bit trickier to memorize. Okay, so I'm going to put these right here. Let's see here, it'll be V-I with lowercase m. Okay. And we might need a little circle over here in a second. We'll find out. Okay. Slide that back down right there. There we go. Okay. Now, following this across, we're going to count up from 1 up to our C to figure out where we're at. Okay. Now, C major, if I count it up, it'd be C, D, E, F, G. A is the 6th one. And that is a nice, simple, same scale, same exact notes, okay? Your G major is going to be G is a 1, A, B, C, D, E is going to be your E minor. That shares the same exact notes as a G major. E major, let's see, we need to count this one up. So it's going to be E, F, G, A, B, C, O, uh-oh. Now we have a couple little tricky things to worry about, okay? So actually, this one right here is going to be a C sharp minor. And the reason why it's sharped has to do with all the holes and halves that are floating around in between going from one to the other. Okay, so you can count up to 6 if you like when you go around the circle. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can go up here if you like. You can count around to 6. Or one way that might be faster, count backwards from 3. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go a half step down and a whole step down. So that's what I meant by 3. So if you go 3 half steps down, I'm sorry, I'm writing out of the screen. If you go 3 half steps down, that is the same as the 6 minor. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, it's easier to count down from 3 than it is to count up from 6. Okay. And what's nice about it is that you can find all your sharps real quick if you end up with this issue right here, okay? So if I have an E, it's a whole step down here, so that's 1, 2, and then my third is going to be the C sharp minor. Got it, okay? Now, A major, we're going to do the same exact thing for this. So the relative minor for an A major, we're going to count up 6. So A is 1, B, C, D, E, F, right? Well, actually it's F sharp minor. This is why this might work a little bit better. Okay, so from A to G is 2 half steps. It's a whole step. So there's 1, 2. And then your third is going to be a flatted down. So it's going to be G sharp, G, F sharp is your 3 half steps down. So this is actually an F sharp minor. Believe me, it gets faster the more you play. Okay. Now, D major, we're going to count down 3 half steps. So from D down to a C sharp, down to a C, down to a B natural. So you need a B minor for a D major chord. B major, relative minor. Let's find out. So we want to go to B major right here. We want to go down 3 half steps. That would be A sharp, A, G sharp. See? It gets easier and faster. Okay. F major. This one's actually nice. It's okay. So half, whole. So it's actually a D minor. Okay. Now, if this is utterly confusing to you and you're wondering how you can remember all these sharps and flats, well, you don't necessarily have to, okay? If you're used to playing in C a lot, you will naturally pick up that A minor is that natural relative minor, okay? Maybe your voice lends itself to E major, which would be a lot of the old country singers from the 50s and 60s, okay? A lot of them played in E. In that case, you're eventually going to learn that you're going to have a C sharp minor, okay, and then your F sharp minor. So the more you play in these keys, the more you pick up where you're supposed to go, okay, because very rarely in this kind of music are you going to find like a 3 minor or I can't even think of the other ones, like a 7 minor or exactly, right? These are usually the only 2 that you have to learn, okay? So there's a nice little shortcut method for you. All right.